Peace and love to the family. Team Osiris on the horizon. Here with my brother Carlos, my brother Geechee again. And today we're going in on New World African Spirituality. Peace to the brothers on the panel. What's up with y'all, man?
Peace, bro. Peace.
And think Geech might have stepped away for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we just wanted to go in on how African spirituality got creolized in the New World and how we kept our traditions with us through everything we went through the Middle Passage, through slavery and Jim Crow. We still kept those same traditions we got from the West Coast of Africa, and we're going to show and prove a little bit today. It's probably going to be a 3-part series because there's so much we can go through. And I think Brother Carlos wanted to start it off with a couple of questions that we're going to answer today.
Yeah, I got a few questions for the family. The first question is like why we do this. So it's basically why is it important for us to emphasize continental African history and culture and African American history and culture? Like why is it important? And I would say one of the reasons is like in the conscious so-called conscious community, you had these identity. It's like we got an identity crisis, where you got people trying to, hijack Native American history. Even though we did interact, and we're gonna go into that too, we did interact with Native Americans in the Americas, but we are not Native Americans. We're not from here. And you got people trying to be from Israel and all these other places, and the reason that they try to do that is because Africa has been demonized,
Real talk, bro. Yeah. You going in.
Africa has been, it has been dehumanized and demonized. So people don't want to subconsciously, they don't want to identify with that. So they're reaching for anything that they think is of greatness other than Africa. They just don't know enough about Africa to be proud of it. And so that's where culture come in. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it's important for us to know African history on the continent as well as our history in the Americas and the Caribbean and all that, and Brazil, South America, and all that. That's why it's important, because so we'll know who we are, and we won't be ashamed of who we are and try to be somebody we not.
Like John Henry Clark said, man, don't let separate us but a boat stop. At the end of the day, we are the same people. So I agree with you on that. Once we see them commonalities, it'll be easy for people to deny it, to see, like, hold up. Like, it's the same thing that's been going on. These traditions ain't never stopped.
Exactly. We're not too much different than we're not too much different than our brothers on the continent, man. Brothers and sisters on the continent. We're not too much different at all. So my first question would be, what is culture? And I just snatched the definition from the dictionary. Basically, culture is the characteristics and knowledge of a particular group of people, encompassing language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, and arts. So that's religion, language, cuisine, social habits, music, arts, for a particular group of people. And as well, knowledge. Knowledge is a part of culture as well. Culture is the shared patterns of behaviors and interactions, cognitive constructs, and understanding that are learned by socialization. Thus, it can be seen as the growth of a group identity fostered by social patterns unique to the group. So that's the textbook definition of what culture is. What would you say? Just a simple your perspective of what culture is.
Off the top of the head, culture. Mm-hmm. Culture encompasses basically a people's way of life, the food ways they eat, they the style that they speak, the language that they speak, dance, names that's used, like for instance, in African American culture, we get picked at for having ghetto names, but those are names that we've made our own here, and a lot of them, even the names they have European backgrounds. Once we got here and made names, we put flavor on them, and now they're African American names, and most people wouldn't even know those names got roots in Europe or something. You get what I'm saying? Like when you hear the name now, you think of a black person. So naming, food, music, dance, just like the basics of a group of people's lifestyle. That's their culture to me.
Agreed. I agree with you 100%, brother. That's culture. And as you talked about it, the language, the lifestyle, the what we eat, how we react, how we talk, the knowledge we pass down. It's just the knowledge of all those things passed down. And so that go into my second question is, why is culture important? Well, because knowledge is and history is important. That's why culture is important. Through culture we develop a sense of belong. We belong. We unify under culture. We got empathy. Like, we feel for our people when we go through stuff. You know what I'm saying? We feel because somebody from our culture is going through something, so we feel that empathy. It also is powerful because it can give us goals, morals, social norms. Culture influences a group productivity. So we motivated. The culture motivate us. It could be for negatively or positively, but it's powerful either way. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I gotta quote one of my brothers, a Comfo, who I'm gonna get on the next show probably. He always say on his post, he'd be like, we didn't lose our culture, we forgot how to recognize it. And that's a powerful statement to me, man. And that's really what this show gonna be about, bro. So I'm glad your first question was about culture. That's the most important part of what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, peace to brother Comfo. That brother be putting in work, man, and that's, like you said, that's a powerful statement, and it definitely ties in to everything that we about and everything we talk about. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and give us a few definitions of these words that's important to what we're talking about. One of the words is creolization. Creolization is a term referring to the process by which elements of different cultures are blended together to create a new culture. The second word is acculturation. Acculturation is a process of social, psychological, and cultural change that stems from the balancing of two cultures while adapting to the prevailing culture of the society. Acculturation is a process in which an individual adopts, acquires, and adjusts to a new cultural environment. And then, so the acculturation is kind of like the stronger culture. You kind of do whatever the stronger culture, you adapt to have the stronger culture way of life. I really reject that term, and I like the term transculturation, which was coined by a Cuban anthropologist named Fernando Ortiz. And transculturation is a term coined by Fernando to describe the phenomenon of merging and converging cultures. Transculturation encompasses more than transition from one culture to another. It does not consist merely of acquiring another culture. That's acculturation. Or of losing or uprooting a previous culture. That's deculturation. That's what you were saying, like how people think we lost our culture. That's deculturation. We didn't lose it. Rather, it merges these concepts and instead carries the idea of the consequent creation of new cultural phenomena, in which the blending of cultures is understood as producing something entirely new. So transculturation, in my opinion, is a better term. We didn't lose it, and European culture is not stronger than ours. We just blended some things.
I agree. And as a person that studies the continent of Africa, synchronization and things of that nature has always been part of our culture. We always take on bits and pieces of what other groups near us do. Just like in West Africa, you can see Ogun with different names and 4-5 different cultures. That don't mean someone took them over and made them take that deity in. That just mean they culture changes with your environment at the end of the day. So I agree with you on that, bro.
Exactly. That's exactly what we talking about. And that's why hoodoo's so powerful, because of those adaptations. Because adaptation is an African thing. That's what Africans do, adapt to their environment. And that's what hoodoo did. You know what I'm saying? So we could talk about what is hoodoo. It's a few names for it.
Get you there, bro.
think he
Think Geach stuck. You still there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. I just stepped away for a minute. I had to make a run real quick.
okay.
Okay. Word. You say you want to talk about Hoodoo, Carlos?
Yeah, just so this book that I've been reading is written by a lady named Katrina Donald. It's called Mojo Working, the old African American hoodoo system. And she actually because hoodoo is mostly passed down through the family. Now you learn it from your auntie or your grandma or your mom or whatever. So she wrote a book about it, and it's some powerful information in the book. That's like the majority I pulled some of my notes from was her book. But her definition was hoodoo is the indigenous herbal healing and supernatural controlling spiritual folk tradition of the African American in the United States. Some of the other labels people have called it is black magic. That's kind of a negative connotation. Witchcraft, spirit work, root work, conjure, or spiritualism, also called the work. So, that's her definition of what hoodoo is. But, we know what hoodoo is. It's basically root work. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm gonna say hoodoo too is is rooted in a mixture of Fon and Iwi and a little bit of Igbo
yeah,
traditions.
yeah.
I'm saying, and more so like when you're dealing with like voodoo, you know what I'm saying. Other than hoodoo, voodoo is more what I say is more conservative. It's more widespread than hoodoo is. Hoodoo is more linked to the United States, but voodoo is kind of spread it more wider. You know what I'm saying, within being in, being from the fine area, Togo and Burkina Faso, and also being mixed with like Louisiana voodoo, the voodoo of Puerto Rico and the voodoo of Cuba and the Dominican Republic. Although Cuba do have a Santeria too, which is totally different, which is Ifa. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those also was different too. That a lot of the ones that spread out through voodoo is more mixed with Roman Catholic, centralized, and the hoodoo was more mixed with Anglican, you know what I'm saying, Protestant type Christianity.
I'm glad you brought that up, Geechee. The brother, the brother hit that on the head. You know what I'm saying? He was saying how voodoo or voodoo is more like widespread, and I wanted to get into like what made hoodoo so unique. And one of the reasons hoodoo is so unique and from voodoo is because of how the plantations. I wanted to talk about the two types of plantations. In the West, in the transatlantic slave trade, it was two types of plantations. You had the Caribbean and Brazilian, or the West Indian and Brazilian plantations, where a lot of that was sugar cane they was producing. So it was harsh. It was really harsh in those plantations. Then you had the North American Southern plantation, where a lot of in some parts tobacco up and towards like was that Virginia, Maryland, and all that. And then in the South, you had a lot of cotton.
Yeah, it actually switched over. First it was a lot of tobacco, and then when tobacco industry kind of went down, they switched over to rice. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people shipping people from the rice culture. And then after a while, when cotton became more predominantly and lucrative, you know what I'm saying, the widespread of cotton trade spread. And I'm saying also too, the plantations of the southern United States was influenced by the Caribbeans as well.
Facts. You So did the way that these so I had read that sometimes a lot of the owners of these plantations in America, they would prefer slaves from certain tribes with certain skills and in certain areas. So did that play out in how in America these different different slaves from different areas that knew about had different knowledges with the rice, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. Did that play out here like that?
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. Like here in the Carolinas, A lot of our ancestors came from that Senegambia area, the Rice Coast. Even today, if I go down to the Sea Islands probably about 3 hours away from where I'm at. Some of the older people, they got old Mandinka names and their names and stuff, showing where they was coming from. Like all that stuff got passed down. So yeah, you on point with that, bro.
Yeah, in rice, the cuisine of rice is spread wide, is widespread throughout West Africa as well. You know what I'm saying? Like even before the introduction of Asian rice, West Africa had its own in you know what I'm saying indigenous rice species. You know what I'm saying? And also like if you pay attention, like look through all the various creolized cultures throughout the Americas, you find a lot of rice dishes from the Puerto Ricans, Cuban dishes to Brazilian dishes. All of them, are, you know, what I'm saying, it was inspired through African dishes.
Now, from what I read on the two types of plantations, the Caribbean and Brazilian plantations had a higher death rate, and so they would get slaves fresh from Africa to keep up with the death rate, and it was less female slaves. The ratio of male slaves was way higher than of female slaves. Now in North American South, it was an equal ratio. That's why those 400,000 slaves that came over here populated. That's why the population doubled and kept multiplying, because it was that we was breeding. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to in the Caribbean and Brazilian, when the slaves die, they'll just go get some new ones. You know what I'm saying? And also in Caribbean and Brazilian, it was a larger plantation size. So you had people that were hired to watch, like the owners of those plantations didn't even live on those plantations. Whereas in the South, it was a smaller, the plantations were smaller. So the master or the slave master lived, they lived on the land with those slaves, even though the slaves was off to the side. But it was like they was over their shoulder more than they was in the Caribbean and Brazilian. And so that African influence, Caribbean Brazilian, to me, in my personal opinion, it was a little bit more stronger because of the size of the plantations out there.
Yeah, it was more isolated here in the United States, with an exception to the Carolinas and Louisiana, which have a lot more Africans and ranking more fresh Africans in those coastal regions.
Yep, exactly, my brother, exactly. So they developed a nice little freedom of expression out there, and drumming and all that. As we couldn't do that in certain places. Like I know in Louisiana and Congo Square they could do that, but that wasn't prevalent all over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we just clap our hands and stomp our feet.
Yeah, like more like in you know what I'm saying, as the 13 colonies spread out wider and became more isolated, and laws became more stricter on us celebrating our traditions. You know what I'm saying? Even though, you know what I'm saying, it got intermixed and synchronized more with Christianity, a lot of the actions that we was doing was still part of that cultural bread, you know what I'm saying, bread basket or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We were still practicing our traditions, even though we were.
Indeed, bro. We still, regardless of them trying to clamp down on our, like my brother said, regardless of them trying to clamp down on us, we've still expressed ourselves. We adapted to the environment. That's what we do as Africans. Brother Malik, you want to get into the some of the slides?
Yeah, we can get into that now and show some visuals to do what we're talking about. We got a question actually before I do that. Brother Cass say, my family from South Carolina. I read a lot of planters who wanted rice growers. Gambian River people were preferable. What African stayed in South Carolina? Yeah, you on point, bro. A lot of us, especially on the Sea Islands, a lot of us was coming from the Senegambia area. And later on during the trade, you start getting after from the 1700s to when slavery was outlawed. you was getting a lot of people from Nigeria, the Nigeria area, coming through here too. So yeah, South Carolina, man, it's a mix. I'm from South Carolina too, bro. It's a mix of everything. But mostly on the rice growers, they was getting people from the Senegambia area. You on point, bro. But yeah, we can I'm gonna share these slides, bro. That you got there, Bill. I gotta get that Mojo Working book too, bro.
Yeah, it's a good book, man. She interviewed some people that's initiated in a few traditions as well.
Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Yeah, just basically that's the title of the show we doing, New World African Spirituality, because we don't separate. We see the cultural continuation in a few pictures me and my brother put on here. Y'all, one of y'all want to go in on libations?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I had a quote. Okay, I got something on libations. I had a quote from this. I believe it's a poet from where they from? From Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a quote about libations. His name is Ai Kwe Arma. And regarding libation, he said, according to he said, this legend explains the rise of a propitiatory custom found everywhere on the African continent, libation, the pouring of alcohol or other drinks as offerings to ancestors and divinities.
Powerful. Say that last part again, bro.
It said, it's a propitiatory custom found everywhere on the African continent.
Mm-hmm.
Libation is the pouring of alcohol or other drinks as offerings to ancestors and divinities.
And here I have on the next slide, just like we do in the hood, bro. we don't even know it.
Where that come from?
People do stuff and don't know where it come from and end up saying, we ain't this, we ain't that. That's because you ain't did no studying to what you doing. Libations are old tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, the European word God stems from a word for libations. So it's telling you how old a custom this is in the world.
Matter of fact, I gotta if the audience want to see something or read something for future reference about libations, I got an article, if I could. It's called it's called Libation Equal Myth and Divinity. Look that up, if y'all got a chance. And it's showing some of the pictures of libation, and kind of from a continental African. It's showing like their perspective on what libation is.
When you get a chance, put that in the back chat, bro. I love to read it.
I will, definitely.
So anything about libations, bro?
Sure. Y'all basically wrapped it up. You know what I'm saying? I always knew it was a African tradition. You know what I'm saying, to respect the ancestors and pay homage and tribute. You know what I'm saying, because our ancestors was our quote unquote gods. You know what I'm saying, so it was kind of like paying tribute to the gods.
That's real. Yeah, and a lot of traditions. I'm glad you said that, Geechee. In a lot of traditions, what a European would call God, we looked at it just our oldest ancestor. A lot of people don't get that either. There's a difference, man.
I'm gonna say it's another story though, but the actual word, the God, you know what I'm saying, God is actually Scandinavian. It's their ancestors. God,
Yep,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, all that type of stuff, which is really the mythical Odin, which what I'm saying, where they deified their paternal ancestor.
Hey, we're gonna do something on that soon, Geechee. We got to.
So you saying that the God, or at least the title or name God, when people talking about God, that really stands for some of the person's ancestors?
Yeah, it stands for Odin, which is the paternal ancestor for most Scandinavian tribes, like Visigoths. the Gothic tribe. That's why they call themselves Gothic tribe or Goot or Got. You know what I'm saying? That's what it stems from.
Powerful.
Just like the actual word God wasn't even written in Bibles until Germanic tribes were Christianized. At first, you know what I'm saying, Latins used the word Dios.
They tell you in Marvel when they say Thor name, they always say Odin's son.
Yes, sir.
Odin's son. Yeah. So the next one.
I'm finna step off about 5 minutes. I'm finna be right back.
Okay, bro.
All right.
On this next slide, I got a picture of African American grave decorations and grave decorations from the Congo. Could you go in on that, Carlos?
Yes, sir. So that grave decoration on the left is African, and the one on the right is in America. So that's showing you the connect, and it's built the same. If you look at it,
Yeah, it is.
same
shape.
I'm a quote. I'm gonna read a quote out this book. Well, a few quotes because there's so much on it. That's more of a Congo influence.
Mm-hmm.
But all Africans, as we said, honored the dead. That's African, period. But this is specifically Congo. But this book, Flash of the Spirit, quote, it said, in Black North America, the last used objects of the dead are also believed to be specially charged with emanations, traces of the spirit. Negro graves were always decorated with the last article used by the departed. To St. Helena Island, Georgia, and Brownsville, Georgia, it's an African American was quoted as saying, this was 1939. They used to put the things a person used last on the grave. This was supposed to satisfy the spirit and keep it from following you back to the house. Now, the Congo believed that the deposit of such objects safely grounds the spirit, keeping it from harming the living remains. The arrest of the spirit in last used objects, kanga mfunya, literally tying up the emanations of a person, or in another translation, tying up the anger of the dead, directs the spirit in the tomb to rest in peace and honors his powers on earth.
That's powerful, bro.
So
you said that's in Flash of the Spirit.
Flash of the Spirit by Robert Ferris Thompson.
Okay. So every time we do a show, bro, you have my book list hyped up more every time.
Yeah, but they covered them. They covered it with all kind of. They decorated it with they might have decorated it with a pipe. You might, your grandfather might have smoked a pipe. You know what I'm saying, like a tobacco pipe. They will put that on there, or they put seashells. Seashells on there. That's a Congo custom. Mounds covered in large conch shells. They talk about the Carolina Low Country. That
Oh yeah,
that's prevalent out there.
I've seen when I go down to the Low Country, I see graves like that.
You hear me?
They're still decorated like that. Old ones, yep.
Not only that, but if you go to some places, you see they plant trees on graves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Trees planted on graves also signify the spirit. The roots of the tree journey to the other world. Congo elders do that as well.
We need I ain't get to put the slide together, but we gotta go in on the bottle trees too.
Oh yeah, the bottle trees, man. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. I was watching that show Underground, man. If y'all got Hulu, watch that show Underground. When the girl's mother gets shipped to the Sea Islands as a slave, they show the bottle trees and they show the rituals. That show really powerful, and I'm mad they canceled it. But everybody with Hulu, please watch that.
You know what? I remember you mentioned that. I started watching it because you mentioned it. I had forgot about it, but I just started back watching.
Man, season 2, bro. Her mom gonna go to South Carolina. They're gonna show the bottle trees. They're gonna show the rituals and everything, man.
Yeah, it was real symbolic, man.
Now this next slide I put up, I see this picture a lot online, and I rarely see explanations of it. And this breakdown my brother Carlos sent me up. It's powerful. So you got to go in on this, bro.
Yeah, the spiritual knot. So those pictures are from, you know, African Americans, but I couldn't find any material, any actual pictures of this on the continent. But I found information that they do this on the continent. They tie, it's called string tying, and they tie strings around, you know, body parts for different reasons. But it's called spiritual knots. So I'm gonna quote from the book by the sister Katrina Donald, where she says she says the use of string and knot tying in the traditional healing process is found throughout West and Central Africa, as well as the diaspora through the Black Belt South. In earlier times in Africa, the strings were made from either leather, special plants, or the vines of sacred climbing plants. Strings were tied on various body parts, including the neck, wrist, ankle, and groin waist area for spiritual, physical health, and strength. String was used in the old Congo kingdom to hold in spiritual power and was used throughout the Gabon, tied around the waist for health. In Ghana, among the Ashanti people, strings rubbed with vegetable dressings were used.
Powerful. Powerful.
So yeah, they do that in Ghana, the old Congo kingdom, Gabon, and obviously, as you can see, they do it in the South.
Mm-hmm. My man, one of my great uncles used to have nutmeg tied around his neck, bro. I never knew why. So when you sent me this picture and sent me the description, yeah, I was like, okay, it makes sense. Like I say, man, like I did the quote from bro earlier. We didn't lose a culture, we got how to recognize it.
Yeah, it's just like that mojo bag, just like that gree.
Yep.
Just, you know, just
like my grandpa, he used to play that Muddy Water song on his guitar. He used to play My Mojo Working. Now I understand. See, I appreciate it now because I understand.
Yep.
This thing come out big on the slide, bro, but we really got to break this tree down.
Okay, we could break it down. So that's called the African religious complex. It's it's just something she came up with to kind of break it down for you and show you that how African religion got disseminated into America, and then through America through hoodoo, and has, you know, the black church as well. But it's eight things that's similar in what we do. That's the counterclockwise sacred circle dancing, like the ring shout. That spirit possession, the principle of sacrifice, ritual water immersion, like baptism, divination, ancestor reverence, belief in spiritual cause of malady, and herbal and naturopathic medicine. All of those 8 things at the top are inside of all African traditions in America, as well as the continent.
Powerful. I like how she broke that down, man. I knew all this stuff, but the way she put it in this family tree format, that's powerful.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
And at the bottom, you know, we got the reference at the bottom. It's from Mojo Working, the old African American hoodoo system. Yeah, book I gotta get. I'm glad Carlos put me on.
You got that ring shout right there. You got the then she's showing how that spilled into the black church, you know, the sanctified church, AME church, the Baptist church, holy dancing, praise dancing, all of that, you know what I'm saying, it's similar to the ring shout. And the ring shout, you know, we can show similarities to African dance forms as well.
Like, man, really, man, catching the Holy Ghost ain't nothing but voodoo possession, so-called possession, you know. So
exactly.
Even in the Christian church, we kept our traditions.
That's a fact.
I always tell people, man, if you go to a predominantly European church and then go to a black church the next Sunday, you're getting a whole different experience, man.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I went to work today and somebody had on I guess the Catholic Church was doing a service live.
Mm-hmm.
And one of this African American girl was looking at me like I was watching it, and I was looking at her. She was like, "You watching this?" And she started laughing. I'm like, "What you laughing at?" She was like, "I don't know." She's like, "I don't know what kind of thing it is." I'm like, "Well, that's the Catholic Church. The church that we are used to. Is different. The vibe is different."
Yeah, the music, the drums, everything.
Yeah, so it's just Christianity. It's different.
On these next couple of slides, just the last few slides here, just showing y'all some different dances. This is the Akan Kete dance from Africa, of course, from Ghana. Great pictures you sent me, by the way, too, bro.
No doubt.
And we just giving y'all some visuals, but in a second, before we get off, I'm gonna show videos of all these dances. This is the Igbo traditional dance.
You see that circle they in?
Mm-hmm. Same circle they in right here in Bakongo.
Yep.
Dang. And here we have the African American ring shop. Same circle they walking in, bro. But just the pictures really don't do it no justice. So I want to give y'all some real visuals in just a moment. Now, bro, when we was building before the show, the ring, you tell me about the connections to the ring shout in the Bakongo, the Kinga, the Bakongo Cosmogram.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that right now. I didn't hold on, I got it. That's crazy that you say that. I had lost one of my notes and I just found as soon as you see it.
Word.
All right, so okay. I'm gonna just it's a anthropologist by the name of Sterling Stuckey talking about the ring shout or the shout. It's called the shout as well. So some of the things was said was, unlike secular dancing, the sacred ring shout involved no personal competition, as was often found in plantation breakdowns. In the shout, dance was neither for entertainment of the master, as in the contra dances, nor for rewards, as in the plantation cakewalks or jig contests. So this ain't just dancing just for show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Dance scholars generally agree that delineation, articulation, and segmentation of body parts, angularity, asymmetry, polyrhythm, and mimicry are among those overarching distinguishing qualities of traditional African dance. And the ring style has all these characteristics. The sacredness of the circle imparted a protection to participants that allowed them wide boundaries of personal and community expression. So the sacredness of that circle is a circle of protection.
Powerful, bro.
The most intense levels of movement innovations were in the threshold movements, those rhythmic gestures that immediately preceded spirit possession. The perspective of the ring shout as text inside the context of the old Hoodoo religion allows us to speculate on the dance's origins in Congo cosmology. This is what I was talking about. Several scholars have commented on the possible cosmological significance of the use of circularity in this sacred dance. Sterling Stuckey among them, seen as a possible tracing of the Congo cosmogram. The sacred circle was the gateway to a broader spiritual experience, that of spirit possession.
Powerful, bro. And just to get them a few visuals of some of these dances I showed on the slide. Play a few minutes of each video. Share my screen. Thanks to COVID, I can't go to the motherland and experience this live right now. So
I know, right?
That was on my planned trip for this year, but yeah. This right here, this is the Igbo traditional dance. It's gonna play. And they want to freeze up on me. Okay, here we go. And there go that circle again, bro.
Yep.
It's gonna play a minute or two of each.
I'm back by the way, brother.
Okay, bro. Yeah, we just we had a couple of dances on the slide. Just want to give them a couple of videos or visuals of them.
Okay.
But yeah, you could that was the Igbo. Now, let me see. There's another one.
Did you know that the average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop in the
YouTube be killing me with the ads. Hey, bro, while I'm waiting on the video, Geechee, I was watching the show you did with Tiffany the other day, and you was talking about the Christianity in the Congo. Before I play this Congo video, can you go in on that for a second?
Oh yeah, just
your body at any given moment? It seems crazy, right? All that poop just sitting there, rotting away inside their intestines and colon. Is it any wonder that colon is...
I'm looking through my notes now.
Okay. Yeah, you good, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of that healing aspect we ain't even talk about either.
The what aspect, bro?
The healing aspect, like herbs and plant medicine.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. It's so much, man. That's why I was like, bro, this is a 3-hour show.
It's a lot, man.
Matter of fact, like I said, we're gonna do a part 2, man. We're gonna do a part 2 next week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, with Sister Tiffany on her show, I was talking about how a lot of our ancestors that came from the Congo in the African diaspora were already Christian when they got here. You know what I'm saying? Because they had a lot of the kings like around the late 1400s had a had a connection with Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? They were vassal kingdoms. The Alphonse, John the First, you know what I'm saying, which was the father of Alfonso the First, which these were they had Portuguese name, but these were Congolese kings. The real name was like Nzinga. What's his real name? Because Nzinga is like a royal. It's a title. Nzinga Anukwu was king of Alfonso the First father. He was the first Congolese king to or ruler to be to convert to Christianity. He did it willingly as well. Well, when Alfonso became in power, he actually centralized uh, Catholic Christianity with the African roots and spirituality. Because it relate to the people. So a lot of those people that they got shipped off or through battles or what happened, that was prisoners of war, got shipped off to the Americas. Already had a literacy of Christianity, and you know what I'm saying. So they already knew what was kind of what was going on. A lot of those were some of the most rebellious, Africans that come here. That's why even in the colonies, with the stone after the Stono Rebellion, they actually banded Congolese Africans from being being bought as slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Brazil, a lot of princes were actually sent to Brazil from the Congo, who were from those Christian kingdoms. A lot of them became Maroons. They got away, became Maroons in Brazil, and created African kingdoms in Brazil. Like Zumi, if you ever heard of Zumi of Brazil, he actually was a Congolese prince.
Yeah, I was looking at the Zoom the other day. Matter of fact, bro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that Christian aspect, like the brother was saying, that's some powerful information. People need to really look into that Congo history. Like he was mentioning that a lot of them were Christians before they even came over here.
Yeah, I'm a next show. Next show. I'm gonna put it on a slide. I got a picture of the supreme deity of the Congo, and this was after they carved them after they already had converted. You can see the crosses at the bottom carved in it, so you can see they was already synchronized.
Right.
Because I got some notes right here about Alfonso. It say the church that Alfonso created was not simply a copy or extension of the Portuguese church, but from a very beginning included elements of Congo theology. For example, the Congos probably believe that most of the denization of the other world were souls of deceased ancestors and not gods who had never lived on earth or had a material existence. Thus, the cat catechism described the Holy Trinity as three people and two tatu. Priests were called by the same name as the previous clergy in Ganga, and the term Ukisi and abstract noun from the same root that gives us the word Nkisi, typically used to describe a charm or a 16th century parlance. An idol was used as the translate as holy. In fact, the key religious terms such as God, holy, and spirit were rendered Congo, terms taken directly from Congo cosmology in Zapa in Pungu for God and in Kisi for holy and Moyo for spirit or soul. This is in turn made conversion easier as self definition requires only a simple declaration of faith. In this way, the Bible was called in Kanga Ukisi, which might also be rendered as charm in the form of a book. In a church was called in Enzo, a Enzo Kisi or charm in form of a building. In this way, Catholic saints were deified with local spiritual entities and churches built in holy spots. This theology developed by Afonso in a time of his colleagues working with Portuguese priests defined the way in which Congolese approached the new religion and in many ways naturalized it.
That's powerful.
And Alfonso, his real name was Ndimba Nzinga. That's his actual name. You know what I'm saying? He was, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the kings named themselves Portuguese names when they became Christianized.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, before we wrap it up, I gotta play one last video. Now, y'all seen I let them see. Carlos pointed out how they walk in the circle in the Igbo dance. So
yeah, we might have to, we might have to do a couple of parts to this.
There's so much information, man. I know
it. we need to slide with twerking.
Yeah. Well, Geeks try to get controversial. We'll do it though. Yeah. You right about that though, bro. We can get deep into that too.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And this is the they call it the plantation ring shout, but I rather call it African American or Western Sudanic Congo Creole ring shout. And they pay attention to the circle of motions and everything.
Even what they call the the call of shout in church, you know what I'm saying, when they repeat after the pastor, that's African tradition.
Yes, sir, it is.
Me and Carlos will build on like that before the show. Yep. So this African as you can get. And what you were saying earlier, Carlos, about praise dancing, same thing, man.
The exact same thing.
And there go that circle.
There you go.
I just wanted to give everybody a visual real quick of some of the stuff we were showing on the slides.
Yo, next show, I want to talk about some things. I'ma just name a few things that what they call protective behavior and avoidance procedures. These are some of the you can call them superstitions as well.
Okay.
But to the people that practice these, they were protective behaviors and avoidance procedures, for example. And some of these might be familiar to what we do today. What it just got passed down by hearsay or tradition. One of them is, you ever know, like, as somebody with long hair, Malik, you know about, like, after you get your hair done, you supposed to burn it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know that's what I'm talking about. That's
stuff like that, man.
That's a protective behavior. Now that's some African. I ain't gonna get too far deep into it because we already been. We're gonna have to do another show.
Yeah, we might have to do about 3 shows though. Yeah. Man, it's so much stuff we can go over pertaining to the subject.
Yeah, because
we could go all night, literally.
That hair is a representation and a piece of your body, which like I said, if we had time, I'd get into it. But another one was not eating strangers' food.
Yep.
Yeah. Secrecy, that's another one. You know what I'm saying? Birthmarks. You ever heard somebody say, if you got a birthmark or somebody was born with a V over their face, that they special?
Yep, I hear it all the time, bro.
That right there, you know, if you was born with certain birthmarks, that got passed down as well. We talked about decorating graves and all that, and like we talked about libation, shaving the head. You know, like if you get baptized or something, and you know you make a new start by shaving your head. Prayer cloth. You ever seen those? You stay up late at night back in the day, and you see them selling those prayer cloths
On TV, yeah.
and that anointed oil and all that. Yeah.
I see one now. It come on about 3 o'clock in the morning. This is white dude. Well, he basically selling bottled water, man.
You know,
and he got people on there talking about they want money and stuff. I said, man, see,
you know, Reverend Ike showed red prayer cloths and red.
Yep.
Red has a symbolic meaning too. Like I said, we can't even get into all it. We didn't get into a lot, bro.
Yeah, I got this. Next time I got this book, Rituals of Resistance, about the Congo traditions in America. I'm gonna get into that too.
Yeah,
there's so much information, man.
Yeah, we gonna get into it though.
But okay, we can go ahead. I guess we can go ahead and wrap this up, brothers.
Yes, indeed.
Peace and love to the family. Team Osiris on the rising, and hopefully we'll be back next week with another. Peace.